I want to let you in on a little secret. Okay, maybe it's not a secret. Maybe it's something you already know, or maybe it's something that you don't know. But I believe this is the key ingredient to successfully pulling off a budget. It's going to be a phrase where you're going to probably say, Chad, I already know that. But I want to press in just a little bit because I believe this is a revolutionary truth if you can grasp it. What is the secret to successful budgeting? Here it is. 3 words. Buy less stuff. Probably not what you wanted to hear, is it? But I believe that it is true, and I believe it can really have an impact on whether you don't just create a budget, but whether you're actually able to help to use that to be helpful for your financial future. All right. Let's talk about the difference between a want and a need. That's something we've covered in previous videos, but I want to talk about it again here because I think that is what helps us to determine what stuff is worth paying for, worth sacrificing for, and what stuff we really don't have to have. Let's just be really candid and honest with one another. Most of us have stuff-itis. When I say stuff-itis, I mean that we have at the very least, a strong liking for buying things that we like, and at worst, an addiction to where maybe we go to the store to buy to sometimes be therapy for ourselves for a bad day, or maybe there are things that we feel like we have to have, that we just can't be happy unless we have it. Our culture and our particular part of the world has access to so many things. Most of the time, it's difficult for us to say, I don't have to have that. I'll give you just a quick example. You can spend $1,000 on an iPhone 15. That's the latest and greatest as of this video. A titanium iPhone 15 Pro, let's say. And let's say it's $1,000. I don't know what they cost now, but let's say it's that. Verizon knows it's going to be hard for you to fork out $1,000 all at once, so they spread that cost out over 2 years or 3 years, but you're still paying $1,000 over that time period. Could you get by with an iPhone 8 or an iPhone 9 that was maybe refurbished, that might actually be free if you sign an agreement to stay with that company for a couple of years, or maybe it's $200 instead of $1,000. That could be a huge difference. Think about what you can do with $800 in that one instance. You probably could make the case that in today's time you need a way to communicate with other people. You need a phone of some sort. But it doesn't have to be the latest and greatest. It doesn't have to be the fastest. It doesn't have to be the flashiest and shiniest toy. So when I say buy less stuff, I may not just mean don't buy certain things, although I do mean that, but also the things that you buy, see if there's a way that you could maybe get something that's not quite as snazzy and expensive. So that's one option. Here's a second practical suggestion on buy less stuff. Pay less money for stuff, maybe a better way to say it. Generic brands, in certain instances, can save you a lot of money. Generic cereals, generic paper towels. I don't know if you want to go generic on toilet paper or not. Just kidding. You probably can. You can probably get away with generic on toilet paper. There are certain things, you got to make sure you have really good quality on. But it may mean that you still buy the same things, but you look for ways to save. But that's really what it comes down to. To have an effective budget, spending less money is the easiest way to make it happen. It is harder to make more money than it is to spend less money. I want to say that again. it is harder to make more money than it is to spend less money. And so if you want to see the biggest impact to your monthly cash flow, just simply spending less, maybe you eat out less this next month and try to eat in more. There's lots of different ways that you can just buy less stuff, spend less money. That is what's going to help you stay in line with doing what we're trying to do, which is spend less than we make. Now, this may be a painful thing. I recognize it's easy to say, spend less money. Just find a way to spend less money. But that can be hard, and that can require sacrifice, and that can require you to do without some things that you really want, and I understand that. But much like exercise, where you have to put in time and sometimes pain to get stronger or faster or leaner when it comes to exercising, the same is true for exercising your finances. Doing without those things can be painful in the short run, but over time, it can actually free up your resources over time, and that can become exponential so that you actually have more money to be able to spend in the long run. Because doing without $1 today could be actually worth a lot more than $1 down the road. So it may be painful, I realize it, but it can have huge benefits for you. So just to simplify this one truth that I want to really hone in on, to have a successful budget, to execute a successful budget, look for ways that you can spend less money. And it may surprise you. I will say before I close, I've seen a lot of people's budgets in my particular work, and I have never seen a budget where you could not trim some more. That goes to people who make a lot of money. That goes to people who make very little money. There's always room to trim a budget. Always. It may be painful, no doubt, but there's always room to trim a budget. So keep that in mind as we begin to talk about in future videos here how to build a budget and how to maintain that budget.